What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you have not yet seen Star Wars Last Jedi, what are you waiting for? But seriously, if you haven't seen it, turn this off. I'm going to go deep into the movie. Hopefully you've seen it by now. I've made sure to hold off on this as long as I can, just so that people could see it, because there's nothing more than I hate than spoilers. But this is going to become a you problem very shortly. 3, 2, 1. All right, it's on you. I'm going to break down the movie. I went into this movie with five things that I was really kind of anticipating and things that I really wanted to see. And I'm going to kind of break those down in order of kind of importance, I guess, saving the most important for last. And then I got a bunch of quick hitter stuff, and then I'm going to share my overall opinion of the movie in terms of where do I put it, in terms of the other saga films, well, really any of the Star Wars films and stuff like that. So right off the bat, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is Rey's identity, where she comes from. And, you know, like a lot of people, there were a lot of speculation. There were a ton of theories out there about who her parents could be. And for me, it really didn't matter. Like, I didn't care. Going into this movie, I didn't care who her parents were, just as long as she wasn't of some kind of reincarnation of like Anakin Skywalker or the first ever Jedi or something like that. And my true hope, and I knew it was a really long shot, but I wanted her to be a Skywalker Kenobi. And in order for that to happen, Obi-Wan would have obviously had to have a daughter, and Luke would have had to have a baby with her, and then that would have been, you know, Rey, the most powerful potential combination of the Kenobi and the Skywalkers together. That would have been my ideal situation. Didn't happen, obviously, but, you know, I kind of changed my opinion on that. Like, once her parents were kind of revealed, and they were revealed to be nobody. They're nobody special. And, you know, take that for whatever you want. Kylo Ren could totally be just, like, lying about that and totally BSing her about who her parents were, just to use that as leverage and kind of swerve her over to his side. And maybe that'll be confirmed in Episode 9. A lot like the Vader being Luke's father needed to be confirmed by Yoda in Return of the Jedi. Maybe that will get some confirmation. Maybe we'll actually see. But, like, if her parents actually end up being nobody and that's the truth, I was actually kind of disappointed by it. You know, like, it was one of the things that I knew was an option, and going into it, I didn't care. Like, but once it was kind of revealed and, like, Kylo Ren kind of said that, I was like, oh, all right, well, that is what it is. On to the next thing. It's obviously not that important. So yeah, like, we'll see if that holds true, if her parents really are what Kylo Ren said they were. So that's one thing. Check that off the list. What I was expecting, it wasn't one of the two things that I absolutely did not want to see, which is ultimately a really good thing. And since we're talking about identities, the next one is finding out who Snoke is. And, you know, I didn't need like a full background or a full, like, where'd you come from? Who are you? Like, I didn't need like a full breakdown, kind of like Rey. I just wanted kind of a general kind of sense of who he was, where did he come from, why is he so powerful? And, you know, we didn't get that. I'm a little disappointed. Snoke ended up, there were a lot of people talking about, oh, Snoke's a bust, he's this, he's that. You know, I was still really holding out hope about that. And for me, my ideal situation going into this movie was that Snoke would be Plagueis, and that it would connect the prequels and kind of that conversation that Palpatine and Anakin had in that weird bubble show thing that they had in the prequels. But, you know, that didn't happen. Obviously, Snoke ended up kind of being, not much, really. Like, he showed a lot of power. He had some Force lightning. He was able to use the Force and really, like, control people. And obviously he tortured Rey, and, like, he was able to manipulate the mind and just control and, like, appeared to be really powerful. But it's kind of funny. It reminded me a lot of Palpatine and the Emperor when he died. And we don't know if Snoke's dead yet. We've seen in the past where Sith or dark users sliced in half, they come back to life. So we'll see if he's actually dead. But for now, Snoke's dead. But it took me back to Jedi when the Emperor was killed. And it's like, these dudes are so powerful. They have so much control over the mind and the body and the Force in general. And you couldn't sense Kylo Ren turning the saber? Like you couldn't feel him doing that, just like when Palpatine was destroying Luke, he couldn't feel Vader's turn and grab him and throw him down the chute. Like, it's so crazy that they're just so... they got to have some kind of like just tunnel vision, that they're so obsessed and that they're so cocky with their power that like whatever they're sensing and feeling is the thing that is happening, and that they're in full control no matter what. And he wasn't, because Kylo Ren was completely flipping the script on him, got that lightsaber turned, sliced that dude in half. Snoke gone. I was very disappointed. I was hoping to see him kind of last a little bit longer and have a little bit more of an impact on the movie. But, you know, it's the way it goes. You're not going to love everything in every single movie. That's just the way it goes. But Snoke, we didn't really get a background on him. Maybe we'll get something later down the road. That is one thing I will not be checking off the list after seeing The Last Jedi. Up next, one thing that I was really hoping to see were Force ghosts. Whether it was Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda, I just wouldn't have, you wouldn't have been able to convince me. And obviously this story was a little bit different than what I was expecting. I thought Luke was going to be focusing and meditating and building his Force powers and doing all that while he was away in hiding, but that's the absolute opposite. He was detached from the Force. He wasn't focused on it. He wasn't training. He just wanted to be left alone, and he wanted to just die by himself because of his failures. But he decided to reconnect to the Force, and what did we get? It got really dusty in the theater when this happened, but he connected back to the Force, and you saw those little ears pop up, and you're like, oh my God, Yoda! Yoda, it was Yoda! It was so awesome to see and hear from Yoda. It made me so happy. It was such a great moment, and you know, it was... I don't really know what else to say about that. Like, his message was powerful. It was awesome. And just the idea to, like, that he knew those books weren't in the tree when he was just like, oh, you want to burn it down? No, I'll do it for you. And he, as a Force ghost, he could pull the lightning out from the sky and strike this thing down. Unbelievable. What a great scene. Would I have loved to see some Obi-Wan and maybe some Anakin in there? Absolutely. Maybe we'll get them in episode 9. I don't know. But just the idea that we got to see and hear from Yoda was absolutely amazing. You could check that one off the list. That made me very happy. And up next, another thing that I was really hoping to see, especially after watching Rogue One, was Luke doing something absolutely amazing. Because of Rogue One, we finally got that Vader moment at the end where he just wrecked the rebels and just destroyed them and was just brah, Force, boom, just destroying people. The scene that we've been dying to see on screen from Darth Vader was amazing. So after seeing that, I wanted to see something on that level from Luke, and we got it. Oh my God. That was one of the craziest moments of the movie, of really any movie that we have seen. Just the idea that Luke was still on the island and he was able to teleport himself, make a hologram of himself, whatever you want to call that, and put himself on Crate to actually sacrifice himself and to ultimately save and rebuild the rebellion, kind of like Obi-Wan did in A New Hope. It was absolutely spectacular. Just the fact that he showed up, he gave Leia a kiss on the forehead, which is like, did you know? Did Leia know that wasn't Luke, actually, like his physical body? Did she know? I couldn't tell. I got to see the movie like 5 more times in order to catch all these little nuggets. But he goes out there, he confronts the army, and Kylo Ren fires every potential gun at him, and nothing happens. And initially I'm just like, oh my God, he like force bubbled himself or something. He's like, whoa, that's crazy. And then like they start fighting and Kylo Ren strikes him. Nothing happens, and Kylo Ren walks up to him and just puts his saber through his chest. And it's just like, what? Like, what's going on here? And then they have the conversation, and Luke was able to create a hologram of himself to distract everybody, to get them out. And that was an absolutely incredible moment. That was just so crazy. It just shows how powerful he is when he wants to actually tune into the Force. He flips that switch. That was absolutely remarkable. And just the way he totally punked Ren there, it was just so badass. It was so awesome. Would I have loved to see an actual lightsaber duel there? That would have been pretty spectacular. But seeing the true power of Luke Skywalker was badass. I loved that scene. You know, it was another one of those moments where it got a little dusty in the theater. Like, when he was walking out, I'm just like, oh my God, Luke's gonna die. He's gonna sacrifice. He's gonna pull the Obi-Wan and sacrifice himself, and get struck down. But ultimately, that's not what happened. He did end up sacrificing himself. The amount of energy he used to hologram himself into that scenario, I would imagine, just sucked the life out of him. It was just too much for his body to handle. And he died with peace, staring up at the twin suns, kind of like we saw him for the first time in A New Hope. It was a really, really great way for him to go, I felt like. You know, did I want to see Luke Skywalker pass? Absolutely not. That is not something that I wanted, but I did go into it anticipating it. I did talk to a few people going in, be like, I would not be surprised if Luke doesn't make it out of this movie. But he's going to be in 9. He'll be a Force ghost. He is now one with the Force, so it's okay. He's going to be back. He will 100% be guiding Rey through this journey of recreating the Jedi Order. So, very sad moment, but it was so spectacular, and it was something that I wanted to see. Just something so iconic and so massive and just so powerful from Luke that, you know, I was very satisfied with it. I was very happy with the way he went out. It was his own terms. He was at peace with the decision that he made, and you could check that one off the list because I thought that was an absolutely remarkable moment. And then the last thing that I went into was the idea that people kept talking about Kylo Ren going back to the good side. And I was 100% against this. He physically murdered Han Solo. We saw him kill Han Solo. And regardless of what you think of Han Solo, he is one of the most iconic characters in all of film. And in my opinion, that's not somebody that you could ever bring back to, like, I would never root for him ever again. Like, there's no way it could happen. You know, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. It's like, you take out one of the greatest characters of all time, and then you're gonna decide like, oh, I'm torn, I made a decision, I'm gonna come back to the good. I ain't down with that. And that was one thing that I would have been really disappointed with. And I was thrilled. I loved Kylo Ren in this movie. Just the fact that he was manipulating Rey, he was doing all the stuff that he needed to do. It totally reminded me of Anakin, except with the part where he actually took it to the next level and took his master out. He killed Snoke. You know, Vader or Anakin, whatever you want to refer to him as, he didn't take out the Emperor. He couldn't do it. He didn't want to be the number one in line. Kylo Ren is feeding for that power. He wants to be the top dog. He is now the supreme leader, which is crazy. But it made me really happy because I felt like we were getting that turn. I felt like he was going back to the light, and I was just sitting there. I'm like, no, you can't do it. He's not redeemable. I can't, like, I'm just sitting here watching the movie. I'm like, he's helping Rey. He just killed Snoke. What is going on? But it was all just a mind trick. He was just trying to play Rey to get her to join him on the dark side and kind of rebuild the Empire. It was really made me very happy to know that Kylo Ren did not flip. I was really hoping that he actually would have taken out his mother too, because that would have just made it like Han Solo and Princess Leia. You killed both of them. One person killed both of them. He would have been the most vile, just hated character in Star Wars history, in my opinion. And I would have loved that. Maybe he takes her out somehow in Episode 9. Maybe that's how they write off Carrie Fisher's character. But yeah, I was really, really happy with the idea that Kylo Ren did not flip back to the good side and that he's still 100% on board with being the next Vader. He's going to take over the First Order and do his thing. So check that off the list. It made me very, very happy that Kylo Ren did not go back to the light. So obviously there are a million other things that we could hit on. We could talk about Finn and Poe and Rose and ultimately where Princess Leia might be going. But you know, those are the main things that I had big takeaways with. I'm very interested to see where Princess Leia goes from here, how they handle that situation. It's going to be really interesting because they already said they're not going to recast. And Princess Leia didn't die in the movie, so it'll be really interesting to see where she goes from there. But overall, I absolutely loved this movie. There were some things that I really did not like. I thought the humor, I'm all for Star Wars humor, but I felt like it was a little bit too much of it. I think it was a little like there were certain moments where I didn't need a joke, and it kind of took me out of like a potential, like, felt like sometimes the jokes kind of ruined potential really good, really big moments. And like right off the bat, we were getting jokes. Like when Poe was messing with Hux and trying to just drag that out to get whatever they needed out of that situation. And you know, the humor was fine. Most of it was fine. The Porgs were funny. They were great. Like they weren't a huge distraction. I would have loved to have seen Chewie eat one though. Like he had second thoughts about it, which was pretty funny. But yeah, overall, I felt like there was a little too much, just a tad bit too much humor in the movie, which didn't ruin it for me. I still loved it. In terms of ranking them, that's such a hard thing to do right now because I have not seen the movie enough. I need to see it a handful more times. But right now, it's still behind Empire and Jedi and New Hope. And right now, I'm just going to kind of pair it up with Force Awakens until I see it more and kind of let the movie digest a little bit more. And maybe there's things that I miss that I love. Maybe there's more things that I miss that I don't love. But overall, I love the movie. I really did enjoy it. And just like anything, there are going to be parts that you don't like. You're never going to love everything in every movie. You're always going to have an expectation for something and they are not going to live up to it. It's just the way it goes sometimes with these movies that we're super, super passionate about. But overall, I really did enjoy The Last Jedi. And I want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of it? I know there's been a lot of like, either you loved it or you hate it. Felt like there was no middle ground. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle right now. Like I loved it, but there were also parts that I hated. Hate such a strong word. There was stuff that I didn't like. But right now I'm in the middle, and when I see the movie more, I get digested a little bit more. But without question, it is not, as of right now, the greatest Star Wars movie of all time for me. It's still Empire. Empire is hands down the best movie of all the Star Wars movies that have come out. But let me know what you guys think. I want to hear your comments below. What did you love? What did you not love? Where do you rank it amongst all the Star Wars movies? I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment, and I will talk to you guys later. And of course, may the Force be with you. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.